Now listen, the difference between medical and recreational marijuana, from what I've learned, please correct me, is that recreational gets you high. Medical does not get you high, but it can. It depends on the level. And please explain that, doctor.
Correct. What gets you high is the THC content.
Right.
Recreational is bred to have a lot of THC in it, to have a good product that gets you high. The medical hybrids are bred to have less and less THC, and the exact ratio of how much THC versus how much CBD varies from person to person for effect. So what might be perfect for you and, let's say, Prince's knee pain, someone else would get them too high, and they would have to try a different strain of cannabis that has a lower amount of THC that will work perfectly for them. So
wow. So how does that get altered? Where does the dispensary?
By the growers.
So you go to the dispensary. There's doctors at the dispensary. There's doctors at this relief clinic, or who prescribes this?
Doctors at the relief clinic, and then the dispensary. Basically, if you think of it, if somebody goes to the pharmacy, you have a pharmacist equivalent to that.
And that's at the relief clinic.
No, that's at the dispensary.
So
we are strictly a medical office to see if you have a state qualifying condition, so that we can give the recommendation to the state, so that you can get your medical cannabis card and go with that then into the dispensary.
And where's the dispensary at?
There are various all over the state.
They are.
If you do an online application, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks, versus if you do a paper application, it can take 30 days and over.
30 days. So this is where you would go in order to see if it's necessary for you. Yeah.
Foodland Park, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and especially in the villages, there are a lot of elderly people, and with age, you get your first pains and your aches, and medical cannabis can really help with that. So
I was always interested in this because I'm really not a fan of medication at all, me or my kids. I don't want to get and I don't like that in my body. I like to just have my body just as natural as it can be. I want to be here longer, as long as I can. And, it takes a lot for me to take medicine. It has to be something where it was like life-threatening situation for me. I'll fight it too, naturally. But I've always was interested in the medical marijuana because I wanted to always know the difference. I know people that have had pain, that's been in car accidents, that can't walk, and they went this route, and they have no side effects. They're completely healthy, and they know that they've been saved by this. Because at the end of the day, all the medication they're giving us left and right is making us downfall. It's really hurting our bodies, and it's really causing another effect that wasn't in the beginning. You get your side effects left and right, and we all know this. We do, and I don't understand why you take the risk of doing it. Ew. That's right. You're absolutely right.
Yes, but we've been also a victim of all the stigma against marijuana, starting back in the 20s, 30s. It used to be found in all those old-time medications that you were able to go to your pharmacist and get, and then it became, quote, illegal, and then the propaganda was that it was a bad drug.
Why? Why is this propaganda? Why is it?
Ooh. Coca-Cola?
So why is that legal? Why was that legal? So money and government and state and...
Absolutely. Now, it's kind of Wild West back then with medications. There was no FDA, Federal Drug Administration for medications. There's a lot of snake oil. So something like, cocaine that does make you feel zippy and feel pretty damn good for a short while.
Right.
There's no regulation, but then people got addicted to it. Opium was, a tincture in drops. You could give it to kids for colic, for teething, adults for a host of reasons. But those are dangerous. The rate of addiction is very high. Just like Vicodin and Percocet, which is why they're prescription medications,
Right.
Which probably over the last 10 years got overprescribed, and you have that whole, problem with opiate addiction throughout the states.
Which is which is going on, like it's rising. And Florida is known as the pill mill, and it's the reason why, the feds came out here, especially in Central Florida, and shut a lot of these pill mills down. It's the pills now, and it's killing them. They're addicted after they can't get it, and they're going to go to heroin. They keep going. And now, is this addictive?
For all intents and purposes, no. People can get addicted to anything. So it could become psychologically addicting for some. But for the true addiction, where you have withdrawal symptoms, it just hasn't been seen with medical cannabis.
Because it's controlled. It's controlled.
Well, even in heavy users that have to stop, the next morning. And that's probably because cannabis is fat soluble, and your brain is mostly fat and neurons. The fat part of the brain supports the neurons. And because it's fat soluble, you have plenty of cannabis sitting in the fat, and if you stop suddenly, it starts slowly leaching out of the fat. In obese patients that use cannabis on a regular basis, they can stop smoking, but they'll still test positive for 5-6 weeks.
Wow!
As it leaches out of their fat stores.
So do you recommend this, and do you see this better than prescription pills?
Yes. Tylenol and ibuprofen are very, very safe medications, but there are more deaths from overuse of one or the other in emergency rooms than of cannabis ever. There are no documented overdoses of cannabis, whether used recreationally, whether used as a medication. It just doesn't kill people.
So, doctor, you basically say weed doesn't kill you.
Weed doesn't kill you.
Wow. All these medical, the pills and everything that's being released so loosely. You suggest, I'm saying, do you guys suggest try this option first?
In my opinion, absolutely. There are recorded deaths from ibuprofen. Someone will buy over-the-counter ibuprofen, a very, very safe medication. Follow the instructions. Oh, it's not really working, so they double it.
Wow.
They triple it for a few weeks, and during that time they get a stomach ulcer from it, a known side effect. If they're very unlucky, that ulcer's right where an artery is, and one morning they just start bleeding out in their gut, and that has killed people. It's a known side effect. It doesn't happen very often, but it doesn't happen with medical cannabis.
Can you overdose of medical cannabis?
Not that I'm aware of. You can probably have a very good nap.
Yeah, I understand.
It also doesn't protect you from doing stupid things.
Huh. Can you drive?
That you have to kind of test. It's like with any medication. For example, Benadryl. If you take a Benadryl, if you're sensitive to it, your reaction times are very much slowed down.
Right.
And you will not be a safe driver. Same thing with medical cannabis. It can slow your reaction time down. It can interfere with your cognitive ability to figure out what's going on. So until you know, with any medication, including cannabis,
right?
Don't drive. Don't use sharp tools until you're sure of how you react to it.
But that's also the part with the THC and the CBD part. You can drive and pretty much do whatever. And
also as well, you said there's an ointment that it's lotion and ointment.
It's a salve, yeah.
That's amazing, and that can just be rubbed on your skin.
Yes, correct.
And for anything that what it would consist of, like
a lot of people who have arthritis or so, they will use it on their hands.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to give medical pills for my mother when she had she felt a pain in her hand. She still does to this day. I have to speak to her about that. And they gave her medicine, medication, and all it did was give her hives, and just it didn't it didn't help the situation at all. I didn't even know this was an option.
In Europe, there's recently been released a spray that you spray in your mouth for muscle spasms associated with muscular sclerosis, MS. It's not available in the States yet, but you can use a topical preparation the same way.
Wow.
For the muscle spasming, you put some of the topical on. And from a Dr. Dave, with a regular pharmacy, we don't have anything that works effectively for most people. People say, try some magnesium, quinine water.
Yeah, I've heard.
None of it works real well. This works great. But there's that stigma of, oh my God, it's marijuana, it's a drug, it's bad for you.
That's what we're used to hearing.
Yes.
And in this state, it's very conservative. It took a long time in order for this to get approved. It's just a very conservative state.
So imagine the government lied to you.
Yes. And this is
Imagine
what I'm so glad you guys are here, because we already know some, but we need to be more informed. And they're not going to release any information, or they're not going to approve or anything like that. We won't know much of anything unless we're informed. And I'm so glad you guys are here, because I know this is an option, but we don't have that information related to us. We're not going to find it.
Correct. It's not taught.
Politicians are not going to talk about it,
I work with colleagues, and I'll show them a journal article. From the same journal, they read about the latest, greatest cholesterol medication. And they just don't want to see it because it's controversial. They don't want to be known as, Dr. Feelgood. The pot doc.
Yeah, what? It's so much more to it than just that. And with that information that you have there, you're going to give that to me, because I like to post that on our Facebook page.
Yes, what we're talking about is I have several journal articles, some from the States, but most from outside the U.S., where it's very hard to do medical research with cannabis because of all the federal regulations, because in the federal mind, it is a bad drug.
And why is that? Why is the persona of weed bad? Like, alcohol was legal before. It's legal now, but was it ever legal? Why can we drink and get drunk and can't drive? Why that harms us? So why is weed illegal? Well, now, medical, but
you're talking about politicians.
That's what it's all about.
So follow the money. And I think you're going to see a great change in the federal law, because the states are just raking in tax money. And they're not going to give that up. I don't think the government cares about you as a person. They don't care if you're healthy or not. They care if you pay your taxes.
I understand. And let me ask you this: with all the pills that are being issued, as you being a doctor, does a doctor get compensated for these pills?
No.
All right. So as much as they issue a dosage, a large amount in these pill mills, they're not getting compensated at all?
The pill mills, I'm not sure how they work, because that's nothing I even wanted to, be downwind from.
Because you didn't agree on the way that is, but I'm just wondering why.
I think in some states, for every refill, you need to go back and see your physician. And if it's a pill mill, you're going to have your 2-minute appointment and your refill. So they can make their money with each office visit. Then you go off to the pharmacy to buy the pills.
But why do you think they get addicted to it and they keep coming back and it keeps the cycle going?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. Of course.
I also got to throw in, there are plenty of patients who are plagued with chronic pain that are doing great with chronic opiates. It is being recognized, though, that you can take a good person, put them on these pills, and the longer they stay on them, the higher the dose, the more likely something bad like addiction will happen.
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly. You have to get higher dosage. That's what we said, medical cannabis. Right.
Yes.
And it's not just smoking a joint, guys. And this is what we all think it is. To have ointment, I mean, that's amazing with arthritis. I've never heard of that. I believe it, yeah. He's a big guy, man.
Yeah, if you can predict the weather with a joint, bothering you, yeah, this will almost guaranteed.
No.
Lose a little weight.
And your girl, Mimi.
And Evelyn.
And David.
Dr. David.
Doc Dave.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm feeling kind of relaxed.